Hi, I'm Sean Casey. I'm going to give you a chipping tip here. I'm in my backyard on my new putting green. I'm going to give you some ideas and things you can do to improve your chipping technique, hit them a little bit more solid, give yourself a better chance of getting up and down and improving your score. Very important with chipping is the setup. And there's a lot of information out there online that describes the setup as putting the ball back in your stance and you pushing the hands forward and the weight forward. I would recommend that you don't do that. When you get the ball back in the stance and move your weight forward and your hands forward, the club tends to come down at a very steep angle, and there's really no room for error. You have to hit that ball solid, and if you don't catch that ball first, you're going to chunk it or miss-hit it. So I would recommend that you put the ball a little more traditional, more towards the center of your stance. You might have the shaft forward, but just slightly forward. The weight might be, again, just slightly forward, so don't overdo any of these things. It's still a pretty natural, comfortable setup. Do choke down on the club for control, pretty much always when you're around the green. And then make a few practice swings. If you have the proper setup, you'll find that the club will go down and hit the ground, but it won't chunk into it. And when you hit the ground, it won't kind of stop and thud. You want it to hit the ground and then feel as though it kind of stays along the ground for a few inches. In other words, it's a relatively shallow approach. Okay, down, but then grazing and shallow rather than down and slamming straight into the earth. So get a feel for that. Make sure you can get the club brushing along the grass. And finally, do not hit it like it's a putt, meaning that it's not all arms and shoulders. You'll notice with any good chipper that they do use their body, their hips, their knees. There's a little bit of a pivot in there. It's subtle, but it's very important. So you'll notice when I'm hitting this shot, making this swing, that my knees and my hips are moving, and that's actually what allows me to keep my hands quiet. Okay, and most chippers know and golfers know they're supposed to not do this, but you'll have more success keeping the hands quiet if you use your knees a little bit. Okay, so choke down, put the ball in the center, little bit of a pivot, and down and through. Your goal in chipping is to just chip it, bump it onto the green, and get it rolling and have it roll out towards the hole like a putt. Do those things, and I'm sure you'll improve your chipping.